Bam, we're live. Welcome. Welcome. Second show of the day. Crazy. I got the Wheel Wad event live on my other monitor. I've been texting with Tim Murray. Hopefully we can get him on the show shortly. I'll wait till Rich comes on. And then we'll call Tim and have Tim on for a few minutes. Rich has been in Tim's position many times. I heard it's 132 degrees in San Antonio. The athletes are competing outside. 27 athletes have already suffered with heat stroke. No, I'm making all that up. I haven't heard of any heat stroke. Just joking, Mr. Ogar. I did speak to Tim. He said they finished the event. He said it was pretty impressive. He didn't actually say that. I don't want to get in trouble for putting words in his mouth, like he gave his blessing for me to say that. Tim Murray said that Wheelwad has already put 276 athletes just to get through the first event. Kudos to Kevin and the team over at Wheelwad for doing that. We'll have Tim on. He said he goes on again at 3 p.m. Central Time. So I guess that's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So hopefully if we send him a link. Jeffrey Birchfield at 72 degrees. I don't know how. Thank you. Cool shirt. Thank you, Judy. 92 degrees, according to Jeffrey Birchfield in San Antonio. I don't know how anyone, after watching this show and watching Tim on the show and all the fun Mikey swoosh drama, and then we had Blaze on that, and then you got Bill Grundler on the mic with some Australian dude. And oh, look, Kevin's front row. God, Kevin's everywhere. Every time I turn the show on, I see him watching the event. Kevin Ogar. OG status. I also heard Boz is there. But that short stature dwarf division is going to be is the one to follow in my mind. I mean, there's a lot of shit to follow. But pick one and follow it. I think that's going to be the one. No, I didn't do 100 pull-ups. I didn't do the workout Mark gave me too. You know what I did? I shouldn't even tell you guys. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm so shy to share with you guys my workouts. I had a big old scoop of distracted by the event. Oh, look at this. Look at this. This guy, what is going on here? Look at this. So when that guy went and picked up the sandbag, he was hopping. And now he's limping back. I wonder if that left foot is fake. Like a pair of fake titties. He got a fake foot on there. Look at, and he hops back. This must be like the one leg division. Damn. Someone hates that guy. Make a one-legged guy do shuttle runs. Ooh. Earlier we saw when the dwarves were running, we saw Blaze Foster, who was on this podcast, dive across the finish line. It was pretty impressive. It was on concrete. I had a scoop of NO Explode. I had some citrulline. I had some. I'll put a link, by the way. I'll put links periodically to Wheelwad if anyone wants to open up a second window and watch it. Then I had a pint of water with some NO Explode in it. And then I put some more creatine and citrulline in another pint of water. And then I set and then I rode 120 calories in 10 minutes on the assault bike. And then I set the assault time, the Rogue timer on 50 rounds. Okay. 50 rounds, 50 seconds a round. And I did 15 leg lifts every 50 seconds. Then I did 10 snatches with a 35-pound dumbbell in my right hand. And then I did 10 push-ups. And then I started with the leg lifts, and then I did the snatches, and then I did the left hand. So the only thing that was, there were 3 movements, but I only did the right hand or left hand with the snatches each round. And I did that for 15 minutes, and it hurt. I wasn't hurt like as in metabolically hurt, but I was tired. Like I wanted to quit at the 25th round. Leg lifts, you lay on you something that like something that I don't know, a jazzercise class would do. I lay down, I hold a D ball behind my head, like a 40-pound D-ball, and then I just lift my legs and lower them 15 times. Yeah, laying on the ground. Yeah, I do my own programming. Yeah. I don't use the ab mat. I don't ever use the ab mat. Why not follow Sentinel Trainer Mayhem? The truth is, I shouldn't tell you. I'm not going to tell you the truth. I have to be careful. I used to hurt myself a lot. So a buddy called me just now. I don't know if you guys, a few days ago, like 3 or 4 days ago, I was going to tell this story about, I don't even know if I should tell this story. A few days ago, I was going to tell a story about one of my friends, and I stopped. And my friend, this is my friend who always tells me, like, the first thing he every chance he get, this buddy tells me, "Hey, I don't listen to your show." None of my friends listen to my show. Dave doesn't listen to the show. None of my friends listen to the show. Only one of my friends that listens to my show is my wife. And pussy, David Weed, pussy. Yeah, I know. It is kind of a pussy move. The thing is I've had problems with my in-laws, and I've done some damage to some friendships. Because of stories I tell. Because when I tell the stories, they think that I care, but I don't care. It's like the other night when I went crazy. Someone called me a homophobe because I was just going fucking nuts about the comments, and it's just like, holy shit, it's just a bit. Yeah, I lost my mom. My mom doesn't listen to the show anymore. Anyway, a buddy of mine called me today who doesn't listen to my show ever. And he said, "Hey, I never listen to your show." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "But I'm traveling and I want to download some." I downloaded some episodes and I was listening, and you were going to tell a story about, my family, but you didn't. But somehow whatever I said revealed that it was his family. So he wanted to know the story. And I didn't I didn't I didn't I didn't I didn't tell him the story. I don't think I should tell him the story. He's like, "Just tell me what it was." And I'm like, "No, I didn't say it on the air, and I'm not gonna tell you." And he really wanted me to tell him. And then when he first called and asked me about the story, I'm like, "Hey, I don't know what you're talking about," because there were a couple stories I told, and I couldn't like quite get it figured out which one he was talking about. I was like reeling through my brain, "Fuck, what did I say? What did I say? What did I say?" And I couldn't remember. And then just now he texted me and he said, "Hey, good job pretending like you didn't know what story." And I was kind of pretending, but kind of not pretending. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't wanna say that my show, I don't wanna say my show, the other night was, fake, but it was a bit. I was being a furry. You know what I mean? Like, I was having fun. All day, I was, like, rehearsing it. I don't normally, no, I'm not apologizing. I'm not apologizing. I'm just sensitive to the fact, or insecure. I don't wanna lose friends. Oh, this is fair. Sevon, you offend me each time you speak, so I tune in every day to verify my being offended. That's solid. Part of your identity is being offended by me. I understand that. That's cool. But the other night when I was going off and I was like, remember the show I did where I pretended to be Don Fall? I mean, I don't want to say it was fake because I was like really pretending. But like the other day when I was just going crazy on all those people who are going after Dave, like I don't really care. Relative to like here's the three relativities. I don't really care if you want like on the I care the least about the people who want Dave fired or who want to keep Dave. Like it's a fun place to fight. And then for me, because I have such a high emotional IQ, then in the middle, like what I care about even more than that is people who like want censorship, right? So like I, in my group and in this group of listeners, most of us just don't want censorship. Like, even if we think those people are being complete fucking idiots, we don't want censorship. But we know that group that wants Dave fired, probably the majority of them also lie in censorship, right? They're just like fucking, they're the low emotional IQ bunch. They don't see that being able to speak freely transcends all the other issues we have. Like the abortion thing is killing babies is a non-issue if we lose freedom of speech. We have to have freedom of speech. Baby killing is nothing compared to freedom of speech. I know it's crazy to say that, but it's just the way it is. Rich, what's up, dude?
We don't have to have freedom of speech. Aren't they trying to take that away?
We don't have to.
We don't have to.
We
get to. Well, sometimes some places do, I guess.
Rich, would you know if a girl was hitting on you?
According to my wife, I am oblivious to it.
Don't you love that? Guilty. You're like, yes, honey, guilty.
Yes, sure. Yes, whatever you say, honey. That's freedom of speech.
My wife goes, Avi's been hurt on and off for like 8 months. And the other day she's like, hey, do you ever think he's faking it? And I go, I hope he's faking it. And she goes, what? And she goes, why? I'm like, anything's better than being hurt. I don't know. You know what I mean? And she's like, I didn't think of it like that. I'm like, yeah, I hope he's fucking faking it every time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't want my kid hurt.
I hate being hurt. It's like, it just ruins everything.
And it hurts your heart too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You just like, everything's miserable, you know, like if you can't, for me, you know, if I can't move or do what I want to do, like the older and older I get, freedom is what it's all about, right? Like freedom in health, freedom in, you know, whatever you're doing in life, and being injured or hurt takes away a big piece of that freedom to me.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And you know what's interesting about that? You probably relate to this more with my kids than I do. But when they're hurt, I also feel like it's part of their identity that's like damaged. Like they don't know what to like. That's how they express who they are. It's their dance. It's their art. You know.
Yeah, Lake has had this kind of like sprained ankle thing. We finally went and, you know, she's limping around on it, and you're like, rub some dirt in it, you know, like, and eventually we were like, all right. So she was in a boot for about 2 weeks. And then we got an MRI, came back. It was just some like bone bruising and, you know, so a little bit of tendonitis. And so we take that boot off, and immediately she's like, all right, I'm playing softball tonight. And I'm like, that's not how this works, kid. Like, you gotta, you know, like part of me was like, hell yeah. And part of me is like, oh man, I just don't, you know, you do as I say, not as I do. Right. And
that's exactly what I was thinking, what you have to do. Right. Because part of you is like, yeah, I'd be in there too.
Exactly. You know, and then like Trice, he's, you know, we played flag football this year, and they just started a 7U, which is a horrible idea, full pad tackle football. And I would love nothing more than to watch him play football, but I just couldn't do it. You know, like all this stuff we're seeing about brain stuff, and you're like, oh man, like I can't do that to him yet, you know? So we didn't do it, but he was wanting to play so bad. So, you know, there's just so many things that like as a kid, it's hard to explain, like, hey, I promise I have your best interest. But as a kid, you're like, no, they just don't want me to do that, right? And it's so hard because, you know, you want them to like do the things they want to do, especially if they're like good things, you know, being physically active and playing sports and learning how to compete. It's just hard.
When you're a kid, when you're a kid too, there's like no immediate consequences. It was like all my friends, like in college, all these kids are doing drugs and drinking, and they wake up in the morning and they're fine, right? Because they don't see the consequences. It's not, and you're like, oh shit. But everyone knows that one friend who's just off a little bit, and then later on you find out they were addicted to meth for 2 years, and you're like, I got it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you never quite snap back.
100%. Yeah.
What's the wife say about football? You guys have any contention over that?
No, I think when they get old enough, you know, like when he gets, you know, late middle school, maybe early high school, we'll start doing it. And, you know, I think playing flag football and learning a little bit of the game and trying to keep the rules relatively, close. It is 2 completely different games if you get to like, you know, depending on how many players and what rules, but they do a pretty good job around here of like, hey, let's try to keep the rules relatively the same. So they can learn, you know, because that's what it's all about at this age, is like learning the sport and, you know, being able to transition to that whenever they get to that point.
Hey, what about you're the guy, you're the athlete, you played all the sports, you're the guy known in your town for the physicality, and now you're being a pussy by not letting your son play football?
I know, right? Yeah. No.
Go ahead, put him out there, Rich. Let him get brain damage. Quit being a sissy.
The hard part for me, too, is like coaching youth sports, because I am so competitive, and we're like, it's just not been good for me because I'm not And I've been dialing that back and not getting too emotionally invested in it with the kids. But then as soon as it's over, like at night, I'm just like emotionally drained because we've been beat, 22-7 in a coach's pitch game where our kids are a year younger than a lot of the kids. Cause there's a big age gap, like it's I think 9U and some of our kids are like 6. And so a lot of Trice's friends are young. And so we're just getting our brains beat in every game and not, not getting too caught up in the kids and then being at home and just like, one of the in my life.
I can't believe you can drive around and do this show. In my town, you could never do that. Our cell reception is so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's pretty good right now. I'm almost to the house, then I'll have good internet, but you caught me in transit.
Yeah, someone just said amazing cell service, and then all of a sudden you broke up. Someone said, hey, can you turn Rich up? You know what I did? I can't turn Rich up. He's plenty loud for me, but I'll turn myself down a little bit, and then hopefully then you guys could turn all your shit up. Yeah, and it balances
Everybody
out.
gets mad at us on the podcast too, and you're like, it sounds perfect on our end, so I don't know. Maybe it is what it is.
Is the PFAA cool with him driving and talking on FaceTime at the same time?
As long as I don't have grips
on. Right. As long as the steering, don't move your steering wheel while you're driving.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, do you know that rule that you're not supposed to adjust the height of your steering wheel while you're driving? Have you ever heard that?
Really? No, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Every time I do it, I feel like I'm being reckless.
You are. You're such a rebel.
You see my shirt?
I love that shirt. That's a good shirt.
Do you know what year it's from?
That'd be 2012, 13. No,
the year before Froning. The year before Froning was on the back, and it was the light blue one.
Okay, so that would have been, and they had the kind of different. Is that 13 or 14?
I don't know if there's any. Oh, and there's nothing on the back of this one.
They skimped on that one, huh? That was they skimped on you.
Hey,
extra 50 cents.
I don't know if you can see this, but this is the James Sprague shirt from the games. That's sick, isn't it?
It's nice. That's good.
And then for him to win and have this shirt.
Oh, he had that previous to the games.
Yeah, the audience, his members, his family was wearing this, Rich. It was, one of the guys took his shirt off and gave it to me.
Hell yeah.
It's crazy.
That's a good one.
Do you know him?
He's passed through and I've met him once. Super positive guy, happy guy, man. He's full of energy, that's for sure.
I've told this story before, but when you first started, I remember being on the phone with you one time, and I remember saying to you, hey, dude, you should tone down the religious stuff. I don't know if you remember this conversation we had, because you're going to alienate people. And now here we are, I don't know, 15 years later.
15 years later.
And obviously it worked for you, but I'm so proud of James that he's using his influence
for good.
For his values, whether you think it's good or bad. I mean, obviously you think it's good, but whether it's good or bad, I'm so impressed that he's staying to his values.
Stick with who you are, that's it's so hard nowadays that, everything is so divisive, when it shouldn't be. And, especially with values and, people being so easily offended. It's it's tough.
Oh, someone just pointed out 2013. It even says on the sleeve.
Oh, there you go. 2013.
Hey, Rich, CrossFit Games athletes, baseball players, when they're done, at least when I was a kid, like you could go to the hotel and you could get autographs from them, like at the bar, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm guessing it was the same with all the sports. I just remember I had friends, we would go to baseball games and then go to the hotel, the athlete's hotel, and they'd be there and there'd be just tons of chicks around too, like tons of chicks. CrossFit doesn't really have that scene. The athletes don't really do too much shit to get themselves, I guess. I feel like maybe outside of training's pretty intimate, but they don't do stuff to get themselves in precarious situations. I mean, obviously, if you're a dude and you're drinking, more weird shit's going to happen with women than if you're sober. But that was never like a kind of, that was never like a thing, right? Like, I don't know any stories of like, I mean, there's, you hear the occasional rumor of this person slept with that person, but you don't see like, Jeffrey Adler's not out just slaying hoes after the games.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
don't know.
mean?
I think
You, Fraser, and Adler have been
yeah,
so boring in Medeiros. There's no like,
yeah.
there's no
We
juicy,
kind of
there's no juicy
there's
stories.
no juice to squeeze. Yeah, I mean, all of us were in relationships at that point. I don't know if Sprague is, but I think.
Yeah, he just got married, dude.
Yeah,
I think he was like he may have even been a virgin before he got married. He may have even talked about how he didn't have sex before he was married.
That's awesome.
Yeah, crazy. How are you going to do that with how do you do that? What are you going to do with your kids? My sister's 20 years sober and a hardcore Christian, and I don't know how she is now, but I remember when her kids were little, she was like, hey, I'm not, like, she was going to not let him masturbate or something. I'm like, hey, dude, you better be careful.
You can't control that. I mean, here's the deal is,
like you're going to cause it. I think of a male sex drive is like this, Rich. It's a balloon. And if you try to squeeze on one end and retard it, it's going to blow up kind of weird on the other end. So you better be careful.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah, you better be careful how you what you do to try to steer that thing, because you don't want to make it weird. It's already a handful, but you don't want to make it weird.
Yeah, no, that's the hard part nowadays is they have so much access to stuff too. Like I can't imagine having the access that our kids are going to have to literally anything. I don't think I would have handled it well. So I think, like the hard part for me growing up was like, you got to be able to talk about that and open with the kids. And, this is what we believe. And this is, but you're going to screw up. And that's what we always tell. And that's what I always tell people about. Like, that's why we believe in Jesus is, we're going to try to live away and you're going to screw it up. And that's the need, right? That's the need for Jesus.
For that support.
The support, but also it's just why he came, why he died. That's why we believe that.
Bryson Del Monte, masturbation good, pornography bad. Yeah, you know what? It's weird.
There you go.
Pornography.
I don't know where it says that in the Bible, but good.
Pornography is a weird one. I really don't want my kids to see it. I don't want it to for practical reasons. Like I don't want it to interfere with their own imagination. I do not want my kids to see pornography. That's why, like,
that's the hard part. Yeah, that's a dark road to go down. A lot of people struggle with that for sure.
My one of the kids I know was going to go away to a skate camp. One of the best skaters in the area. All the best skaters were going to be there. Tony Hawk, all these amazing skaters. And the mom didn't let the kid go. It was a 1-week skate camp because the kids there would have access to their cell phones between 1 and 9 p.m. And like, what do you think? I think if you send your boy to sleepaway camp and one of the kids there has a cell phone, your kid's going to see pornography no matter what. Don't you think, or no?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many blocks, I guess, now these days. I don't really know, like.
What are you going to do about phones? What are you going to do about? Do you have a plan for when you're going to give your kid a phone?
We say with Lakeland, 14 is going to be her when she can have a phone, and so she's very, she's already got friends that have phones, which blows my mind. Like, I can't imagine them having that much access to things at that age where you're, trying to process and trying to figure things out. It's just a weird, man. It's a crazy world to think about now, like compared to what we grew up in.
What about your son? I was thinking about trying to hold them until they were 16 before they got a phone.
I mean, I love that idea. Like the hard part about it is, if they are playing sports, if, travel or any of those things that they're doing, you want to be able to talk to them or, like I guess there are these options now with Let me get to the internet if I'm breaking up on you. Options.
Because you can't unsee that stuff. Like once you
No.
see it, you can't unsee it. And it's not like
Well,
I want to protect them from it. I just want to protect their brain from it until
until they
like,
can process it. There's
yeah,
certain ages
totally.
that, like hell, I mean, until, you could go, everybody's a little bit different too. And at what age they can start even thinking about those things. Hell, I'm 38 years old or 37 years old and it's still, I'm still immature. So I don't know what that right age is. And I would, call me old fashioned, but I want to not protect my kids as long as I can, but at least at least, yeah, hell, you'd want to protect them. That who cares if that sounds old fashioned? We want to protect our kids, right? And so, I saw something the other day. I forgot where it was at, but it was like, as soon as you give your kid a phone, you're basically saying, "Hey, your childhood's over," right?
Yeah.
And it's true.
You've given the entire world access to them and them access to the entire world.
Exactly. And man, I mean, you go into an even deeper thing, like, are humans supposed to have that much connectivity and that much access to everything? Like, are we made like that? I don't know. So it's tough.
Hey,
That's
and
tough.
I have no regrets. Like when I think of my own life, I'm glad I didn't see porn until I don't know, till I was 40 or however old. I never saw porn until there was an internet. Like
Oh,
I never
wow.
had VHS porn, and like I had one Playboy magazine like that I took from like a
Yep.
cabin that
From a
when I was like
friend's. Yep.
13. Yeah, and but other than that, like for me, like walking by the counter and seeing the Macy's bra catalog was enough.
Anytime mom got that, it was like some random J.C. Penney like
Yeah,
bathing suit out. Yep.
yeah. And I
Yep.
would just like walk by the counter like an extra time or two and look at it.
Yep.
Like,
Let
oh
me
wow.
let me see. Let's see what's in there.
And none of my and none and now that you're older, I guess that's going back to the part you're saying. It's about protecting them. It's like I don't have any. It's like I used to smoke cigarettes, and I have all sorts of regrets about that. But I have
Yep.
no regrets about like waiting till I was 40 to see porn.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, there's only nothing good can come from it. Let's be like nothing.
Yeah, right. You did your second bike race.
Did my second bike race. Yeah, it was hard, really hard. Um, I don't. Yeah, we haven't podcasted about that or anything. Yeah, it was one of those that I needed to make sure the year before wasn't a fluke, right? Being sub 9. This year, I did a whole lot more CrossFit to prepare. Last year, I did a lot of upper body, kind of like they were CrossFit-ish type Metcons, but a lot of like core and upper body. This year, I was like, all right, still gonna squat, still gonna like do heavy things. Did a couple less long rides. It was just so hot here that a couple times I got a little overheated in the humidity and stuff. So, um, man, but it was tough this year. I was 12 minutes slower, still sub 9. There were a couple different factors that I think led to that. I was in a faster heat group, but there was a headwind on the way out, on the way back. I got stuck between kind of two drafting groups, a group I couldn't catch up with and a group that was a little bit slower. And then mentally, I was checked out. Every 20 miles, every aid station, I was, trying to come up with some type of excuse to quit. And then coming down from, what would it be? So basically, think about it, every 20 miles, you have an aid station. So from 60 to 80, I would have a bottle of 100 grams of carbs and a bottle of 50 grams of carbs. And I was coming down from the 60 aid station, probably 2 or 3 miles in, and I hear something hit the ground. I look over, and it's my 100 grams of carbs bottle rolling down the trail. And so I'm like, well, I'm going 35 miles an hour. I can't really go back and get it. So I just kept rolling and tried to make up for it with some food, but it was just so hard to eat at that point in the race. You're probably 5, 6 hours in. And then so I get to the 80 aid station. I'm riding and about to do the big Columbine climb, or not Columbine, power line climb, and it's terrible. And I reach down for that 100 grams of carbs, and guess what? It's gone again. So I missed out on
Oh
200
shit.
grams of carbs. So it was a good mental, like, hey, don't be a bitch and just keep going. But it got dark there for a little while. So when I started mathing it, and I'm like, oh man, I can,
I'm thinking of my excuses of like, oh, I had some bike trouble, and have my Instagram post and have that, back of pocket, why I didn't meet my goal. And so
Yeah.
I'm playing those games, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you can still make this, but you got to go. And so, I was happy that I, got to a point where I hammered the last probably 20 miles to make up for it, and got in there sub 9. So that was the main goal. It was slower, but still, I think mentally it was a good, like, hey, don't be a bitch. So it was good.
Hey, what's the total consumption of carbs on? What was the total planned consumption of carbs on that trip?
Yeah, so I would usually I take a pack of I try to 100 grams of carbs an hour is what I'm trying to do. So I would either have food, gels, those types of thing, and then I would have kind of in reserve this 100 grams of carbs in a bottle and 50 grams of carbs in a bottle. And because at some point you just like, I don't want to eat anything. You try to chew anything and your stomach just starts like rejecting it, but you always want to take a drink for the most part. And so I just kind of always fell back on that plan of taking in the liquid carbs. And it was not, when they were gone, you start playing, I'm like, oh crap, I got to eat this. I got to try to take this. And it just was not good. So
you were down. You only consumed 700 as opposed to what was ideal 900. So you were 200.
I probably got closer to probably 850, I think, when I looked at like food, but I was still down some. And it just, and the game changer I learned this year was taking Gas X at the same time too, because the year before it was like 24 hours. My guts just felt like I had a cinder block in there from taking in all that junk. And so this year I felt way better. It took me about 30 minutes where I was miserable, and then I was fine.
Mason Mitchell, who's a CrossFitter and a pretty hardcore biker, he says 100 is too low for your weight at that effort.
Yeah, that's probably right. If I was to get into it more, then I would, probably. I always joke, there's a couple guys that I ride with, Dave Curtis and then Michael Arthur, and they're super like regimented on their, this is what I got to do every 15 seconds. I have an update, or 30 seconds, or however many minutes. I got to take a drink, or I need to eat this, and I'm just like, F it, let's do it. Like that Yellowstone meme where he's like, "What's the plan?" He's like, "F it," we're just gonna do it. So. Yeah, it's probably not optimal, but
You don't pee for the entire 9 hours?
I peed twice. I kind of like pulled off onto a side and just whipped it out and went. I tried to do I saw a couple people like riding and pissing, but I just, felt like I don't need that embarrassment, so
Do they
stopped
actually
trying
pull
to
their
piss.
junk out, or they just
Some people do, and then some people just piss on themselves, but I'm afraid of getting chafed,
Oh, like you just stand and kind of just pee.
Just let it go, right? Yeah, but I'll take the 30 seconds to hop off real quick. I just like unclip one side, stand there and piss.
My penis does something weird when I pee when I have clothes on. I wish I could see. I don't know what it is, but it's really uncomfortable peeing. Like I can't pee in pool. I mean, I could pee in pools, but I'd have to reach into my hand, hold my penis. It almost feels like when I'm peeing in a pool, like my penis is getting tied in a knot. I don't know what you ever feel that uncomfortable when you pee. No, okay.
No, I get where the force, like, it's just, we call it sport dick, but I get that one where the skin like slides a little bit, and it just doesn't feel good. Feels weird.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Sport dick.
Yeah, sport dick.
Funny. I've never
Hobart. That's sorry, I stole that one from Hobart. So don't. That's his phrase.
Yeah, I've never talked about that. I've never shared that experience with anyone. I should ask my boys Now that I have 3 other boys in my life, I could ask them anything.
Yeah.
Hey, when you pee, does it feel like your dick's like hurting or something? It feels weird.
Just doesn't like it. Don't like it.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one. It's called Sevi. That's called STI. I don't know what that is. Oh, sport.
I cannot swim. So like fitness, swim.
Yeah.
And pee at the same time. For me, it's not physically possible. Like in a lake or something, I cannot do it.
You have to tread water?
I have to tread water. I cannot like streamline swim and piss at the same time.
God, the comments are so funny.
I also can't piss and drive at the same time. I can piss as a passenger in a bottle, but I can't piss and drive at the same time.
God,
like I can't slide the seat forward. And I just can't do it.
I have so little. That's such a we don't do that in California.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Pee in a bottle.
We do that in Tennessee.
I have so little pee bottling experience. Hey, I'm gonna send just really quickly. I'm gonna send Tim Murray, if I can find his link. He's competing this week at the CrossFit Games in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And he's in the short stature division. And I'm gonna see. I want to see how he's doing. He tied the games. Oh shit! Oh, he tied last year. So I want to just check in on him. Maybe it'll help motivate him to see you too. He tied last year. He has one CrossFit Games championship under his belt. I don't think they should have let guys tie.
No, not for a championship. Second, third, whatever. Who cares? But
yeah. If you can come on for a minute. So you did the bike race. You were Friday was when the drowning incident happened with Lazar, or was that Thursday?
Thursday was
And your race was when?
Saturday.
God, that must have been a trip for you.
Yeah, it was hard to think about, he was part of the Mayhem family. He kind of went back to an old coach, but still just a great dude to have around and part of our crew, really. And then, that sucks. But then also you start thinking about you put everything into perspective too. And, think about all the things and stupid things that we've done in any sport, in any, physical challenge, whatever. And I'm like, going out there down these mountains at high rates of speed. And you're just like, it just put things into perspective in a weird, you always think those things could happen and we can, this is a huge whatever. And people are like, you should absolutely at no point ever feel like you could die at any event. And that's bullshit. Like, sorry, but it is what it is. You always think it could happen, but you never think it could happen, if that makes sense. And so, and it really, you were like, I'm like, oh shit, and not necessarily for me. Like if I'm to die today, especially doing something that I love or want to do, then just, make a cool video, talk about all the cool shit that I've done at my funeral. Like, don't be sad, and then make sure my wife and kids are taken care of. That's all I care about, right? I'm okay. But to think about my kids or my family or anybody else, that was the part for me where I'm like, oh man, or like, are they okay without me? Or are they set? So it was just, it sucked. Though, I mean, that's the only way to put it, is that it sucked, right?
When you I think I was there on, you showed up Sunday, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I think I was there Sunday and you walked in and to the athlete, I think there's the athlete warm-up area, but it's basically where they did all the demonstrations and you didn't even get in and the whole kind of fucking Mayhem family swarmed you. Did you and you were surrounded by so many great people. Did you also feel a little helpless, like when you were there, like that you couldn't be there for your team? Did that stress you out, being like,
that was
like,
the hard
hey, maybe
part, not being there with everybody. Everybody processes things different and everybody needs different things. And I'm not good with emotions. I'm not, we always joke that I'm probably one of the most emotional people in certain things, like if it's not my kids or my wife or whatever, but and so I don't know how to help people in those situations when they need that, right? And so I feel like at times people come across of like, oh, he just doesn't care, and it's just more like, I don't know what to do to help you more.
Well, it seemed like you care on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean,
you were very available. You got
Yeah.
swarmed. I even ran over to you to get some comfort. Like everyone kind of ran over to you and you kind of held court, and it was awesome seeing you, dude. It was so great seeing you there.
Well, I just don't know what to do other than be there, right? And if somebody wants to talk about something, then I'll talk about it. But it was more or less to be there and just make sure everybody was okay. And if they needed anything, it was good to see Dave, because he was going through hell. And it's just, man, it's just it's an awful situation. It's not it's unprecedented. It's not something that, you ever, I always come back to, like, you knew it could happen, right? But you never thought it would happen. And just sucks, right?
When you bomb the hills, when you bomb the hills, do you ever get concerned like,
No.
oh shit, if I hit a tree and I hit it, I'm dead? And
Not till after, like, and then, I was like, holy cow, and actually, so the funny part is I had a guy come up to me as soon as the race was over, because I had to make up some time. And so on some of those hills, I'm just like, screw it. And I would hammer them. And like, I don't have that switch that's like, hey, you shouldn't do that. It's just the way I was raised. I grew up doing that. And so flying down these hills, I would it's right before I'd get to somebody, be on your right, on your left, because if you say it too early, people are like, they start looking to whichever side, they lean in your way. So, I'm going down this hill, and so I had some guy come up to me after. He's like, dude, you bombed those hills like a demon. And so, this just is what it is, right? And so it's just, that was the piece where I was kind of like, man, these are situations that, I've never thought about before, in other than, oh yeah, that could happen kind of post. But it's tough,
Number one podcast in the space. How many times you get to see two CrossFit Game champions in one show?
There you go.
What's up, Tim?
Much. How are you?
What's up, Rich? Tim, Rich. I don't know if you guys have met before.
No.
What's up?
How's it going?
How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Just trying to stay cool. It's like 105 here.
105, Tim?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the heat index like rose real quick.
Oh, wow.
How's everyone doing? Everyone good?
Yeah, everyone's good. They got enough like cold tubs and fans, misters, all the jazz here. So, staying as cool as we can.
Rich, what's the best way to stay cool?
I'm probably the worst person to talk to about that. I'm the hottest running person there is. I sweat more than anybody. So I don't know if there's any secret. And definitely, if you figure it out, let me know. Make sure you're wearing some wristbands or something to keep that sweat off the hands.
Yeah, I got you. I know that we just jumped right into a cold tub as soon as our first event was over. So that helped big time.
There you go. Yeah, cold. Yeah, as soon as you can bring, as quick as you can, bring that temperature down.
Yeah.
Tim, how is it? We watched your first event, and it looked like you took second place. It looked like you were the second person off the erg, and then you took off running. But it looked like Mikey Swoosh might have gotten off before you. Did you pass him on the run?
I think he got off right after I did.
Oh, after you did. Okay, but and then some guy did get off before you, right?
Yeah, there were a couple like off to my left that had gotten off like right before I did, and I caught the one on the run, and then he was playing a little what's the word I'm looking for? Like interference on me, I think.
Nice.
I was like, I gotta respect that.
Yeah, okay.
And then I saw Blaze Foster dove at the finish line. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. I think he was just trying to hit because we had to tap the little bubble gumdrop thing, whatever they called it. So I think he was just trying to get that extra little bit of set every few seconds.
So you're sitting in second place?
Sitting in second place, yep.
I know it's early, but is that guy who beat you a threat, or no? That was just like he's good on the ergs, and after this, you're gonna smoke him.
I wasn't sure what to expect from him really, because he's kind of been behind me a bit, like in the semifinals and whatnot. But this next one I'm pretty excited for. I think it's sandbag carry 40 feet, 6 shuttle runs, sandbag carry, 4 shuttle runs, sandbag 2.
All right.
So they're going on right now, so it's pretty fun to watch them, getting some ideas.
Heck yeah.
Rich, hard to be the defending champ. Do you have any advice for Tim?
Just soak it in and use it, man. Just
all right.
Yeah, your job is to leave no doubt, right?
Yep. All right, I can do that.
Hello.
Hey.
There you go.
Hey, Rich, what's the best mind game he could play on the other guys? Any good one-liners you got that he can use?
I was never much for words. It was more like either try to lap them on a workout or just stay just enough ahead and look completely calm even though you're dying inside. So just keep that face stoic, that's going to hurt them more.
That's easy enough.
There you go. Never show weakness.
Okay. I like that.
Tim, is Mikey okay? He looked like he was hurting on the run. Is he okay? Is he going to get back in the game?
Yeah, I haven't seen him since we finished. So I went straight to the cold tub just to bring that temperature down, body temp down, and then just been chilling ever since, so I haven't really seen him.
And your next event is in an hour and 15 minutes?
Yeah, they're like, wow, no, 3:39 Central,
Okay.
so almost
okay.
2 hours.
Okay. All right, dude. Thanks for checking in. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. I know you're in the middle of your event. I really appreciate it, and we'll be watching on Wheelwad on the.
Good luck, brother.
Thank
on
you.
YouTube.
I appreciate it, Rich. Nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
Good to meet you, man. Come out to Leadville sometime.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah, come on.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Say hi to
All right.
Kevin Ogar if you see him. Say hi to Lisa Gall, and I'll be watching you all weekend.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Will do.
All right, later, brother.
All right, bye.
Tim Murray, Wheelwad CrossFit Games champion.
There you go.
105, dude. That's crazy.
That's miserable. Miserable.
When you did the race, what's it called? The Leadville 100.
Leadville. Yeah.
What's the temp there?
Oh man, it was like 65.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
it was awesome. Sunny. This year was sunny though, and which shouldn't affect you that much, but it just felt way different. The year before it was mostly cloudy all day, and that for me is great. Sun affects me more than it probably should. So, but yeah, it's still compared to anywhere else in the country at that point, 60 degrees is incredible.
After the incident, you made a post where you said something along the lines of "No one cares more about the games than Dave."
Yep.
So it was
And the
something.
athletes. I shouldn't have said just the games. Like it was supposed to be implied, the games and the athletes.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
I know, but everybody's like, he doesn't care about the athletes.
Our Armenians are so smart. And so you make that post and you make it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you followed up with another post a day later, showing support for obviously someone who you've had a long relationship with, who you know was hurting,
Yep.
and anyone who was close to him that day could tell like he was not himself. He'd clearly been crying for hours and hours. Every time you saw him, his eyes were squinty and red.
Yep.
Why did you do that? Did you think twice about it? Did you know that it would get you some heat? Like can you tell me like what your mindset is for doing that?
I didn't think twice about it. We're all human. Dave's human. Dave has, I feel like, become more human over the last 5-6 years. Early on it was, a little bit different. And there was, Dave for years, I feel like was in that defensive, everybody against CrossFit mentality. And so, yeah, he came off abrasive. He came off defensive a lot early on, not super open to either criticism or just communication, probably straight out of the military, just different. Right. He
killed people for a living every night.
People. Right.
Yeah,
so that, unless you've done that, which I never have, you can't relate to that. Right. And so it may come off as, early on, like I saw a bunch of athletes that competed years and years ago, and Dave was a dick. He still is a dick. Like that is, it is what it is.
Right.
But people that when he was a little bit more abrasive and a little bit more, not willing to at least discuss, or when it was early on and nobody else had more perspective than he did. Right. And so, yeah. And so Dave's a friend and more like a brother. We have family tiffs. Where we'll publicly, we went at it for a little while, jokingly, not jokingly, kind of jokingly, and then
over
we went
the
on
years,
podcast.
more than one,
for years,
more than
and
one.
So
Yeah,
we're not going to agree, and I don't agree with everything that Dave's done or has ever done, but I think he's a transition and is a good person. Absolutely. Do I think he's always been a good person? Yeah, but he's trying to figure stuff out, and for everybody to just jump on the whole fire Dave thing really, really pissed me off. So it struck a nerve.
I appreciated it. I've always viewed you as a leader. I think a lot of people have always viewed you as a leader. Even when I was, I'm fucking 15, 17 years older than you, and I still view you as a leader, a very strong leader. I've learned a lot from you. When you made that statement, I felt that showed incredible leadership. I am concerned, especially in juxtaposition to the way I see Dana White lead, that this company is leaderless. CrossFit HQ. I see Dana White. I don't know if you've seen did you ever see the clip of him telling, like, he has no problem. Like, if a fighter does something stupid, he'll be like, holy shit, that fighter pulled out his stitches and showed it on Instagram. Now the guy he's fighting fucking knows where his cut is. What are you, a fucking moron?
Right.
Or after he hit his wife, he did a press conference. He's like, completely fucking unacceptable. No one should ever hit their wife. I'm embarrassed and humiliated. But let me tell you, I have to deal with my wife now and my sons, who I've horribly let down.
Yep.
And I'm gonna take care of that. And then you guys, how about you guys shut the fuck up? And when you say Dave's a dick, that was the good part of he was our dick. He was our leader. Like, we knew that he was gonna stand up.
Yeah, there was almost like, if anybody from the outside said anything, somebody was going to stand up, where it does feel a little bit like a power vacuum at the moment, like it is.
Like, remember when he threw the Outside Magazine judge said some negative shit about CrossFit? He immediately made a video and threw the fucking magazine, like, fuck you guys.
Yeah. And so it's just,
and we like that, right? We want that.
I think we're missing a little bit of that, like this whole, hey, here's the deal. CrossFit, everybody can do CrossFit, or CrossFit is for everybody, but not everybody is for CrossFit. Like, some people it's just not, it takes a special person to want to suffer like that all the time. And that's okay. Like, that's what we do it's what I do for a living, is just suffer, right?
And here's the thing. You don't even have to. You can be a wimp like me and hang out in zone 2 all the time. And the community will benefit. Yeah, and the community will still embrace you. But there's value. Oh, sorry, hold on a second. Greg, let him speak. How about you shut the fuck up? Thank you.
This is Sevon's show. Just like on the Rich Froning podcast, I can cut Angelo off anytime I want to.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to the Hog Rider podcast. Oh, jeez.
I don't know what that is.
He's saying I'm riding your dick. Like, all I do, I have guests on and ride their dick. David, have a few, just,
Hog Rider, nice. That's a good one.
Oh my goodness. Okay, back to leadership. Yeah, I don't think the company. I think we'd rather have someone who's contentious and we have issues with than just no leadership at all. Do you? I mean, what do you think? Do you have any thoughts on it? On what Dawn's doing? On what Rose is doing? On what's happened since Greg has been gone?
How long do we have?
Hours.
I don't know. And I've talked to Bill and Henniger, and I don't think he would care me saying this. All this talk of we need outside, somebody from the NBA. We need somebody from tennis. We need blah blah blah. Some specialists in another sport. No, who's the specialists in our sport? Dave Castro's been here since the beginning. Bill Henniger's been here since the beginning. Andy Thorsdotter's been here since the beginning. Myself, some of these others that have been around and stuck around, not ones that were here and then, bail on us for something else later. Josh Bridges. Like, why not get that group of, why have we never once not been consulted even? Like, hey, let's bring this crew in and some affiliate owners, and how do we fix this? Give us some ideas. That's never once. Some of these other people may have, but it's just not been nobody. It's tough. Like, there's no, we want to do what's best for the community, but it's not like, why not bring in different perspectives of like different parts of the community, and how can we all meet up and make it better? Right. It's tough.
Has Dawn called you since the incident?
We talked on the phone 2 or 3 days after, and kind of talked about, he was asked if I ever felt like, I've not been heard or, quiet down or whatever. And I said, not in the last 6-8 years. No. Early on, yeah, but I probably shouldn't have had a voice in the first 3 or 4 years because I hadn't built, the credibility and known kind of the ins and outs of things. Now I feel like, hey, I might have some perspective. And, there was and also offered, hey, any of our media or anybody at the games or athletes who needs to see a counselor, that CrossFit would pay for it. So, that was cool. But yeah, there's no, he's talked about coming out, but I haven't seen him yet. But I don't think it needs to be a one-on-one visit. Like, I think there needs to be this, hey, get a group, and we don't all have to agree on it, but at least let's talk it out, right? And say, hey, it sucks right now. Like it's not good.
What about this? Let me push back completely on
Okay.
what you just said. How about
Like
this? How about just don't ask anyone and Dawn, and you just stand up and be a fucking leader and start fucking leading this thing and start fucking running off in a certain direction.
Yeah.
How
Or
about
any direction. I'm fine with that.
yeah, how about
And
we
either let
just
people get in line or not, right?
I feel like nothing has happened in the last 4 years.
No, there's not.
I was
There's
just
not. Nothing.
and how's your affiliate doing?
Great. Probably definitely the most members we've ever had. I think the other day Josh said we were around 700 at nights. We're running out of parking lot space, and we're like, you never thought we'd run out of an 18,000 square foot facility. But when you've got, CrossFit kids or CrossFit teens, CrossFit preteens, and then we have our CrossFit class, and then we also have what's called Life class, which is CrossFit but geared towards seniors, a little bit less intimidating. You can't move around in there, which is awesome. It's incredible. So we're doing good.
Some people would say, hey, that's not fair. He won the games 4 times. He won the games another 5 times as a team.
I would argue that's a detriment, because for years we had to overcome that. Hey, Mayhem's only for elites, and so I think we finally made it over that bridge. But it was definitely, for years it was like, oh, I can't go to Mayhem. It's only for CrossFit Games athletes. So it's not that way anymore.
And do you know what the secret sauce is? Why your affiliate is thriving? Why maybe CrossFit's in one of the worst places it's ever been, and yet your affiliate is the biggest it's ever been?
I think it's obviously the methodology is awesome. And then just having good people, having people that are, Josh runs the gym. He does an incredible job, does a great job with coaches. We just have great people around. And yeah, I mean, that's really the secret sauce, right? We don't do any marketing locally. We don't do any of that. So it's all literally the old school word of mouth. So it's CrossFit methodology, high intensity functional movements, constantly varied, and then just really good people and good coaches, and then the community that's just kind of taken on that, what we are is faith, family, fitness, and service.
What percentage of your clients, members, would you say are Christian?
I mean, we are in the Bible Belt, so probably I would say 70% are like professing Christians, and then, who depends on, if they're every day reading their Bible or any of that stuff. I don't really know, but I'd say 70%, probably 60, 70%.
You think these people see each other, not like there's people who go to church and then come to the gym together? Like it's that close?
Maybe some of those.
But not as much as you would, like you don't go, like, is there one church that like 300 of your members go to?
No, we've got, I mean, you can drive around anywhere in town. There's churches on the, different street corners. And so, everybody goes to different churches, and yeah, within even that Christian banner, you've got many different denominations and many different churches. So I wouldn't say that the faith side of it is, I mean, obviously it's probably a good factor on it, but I don't think it's huge.
I had this 50-cent analysis that the Christian athletes handled Lazarus' death different because the practicing Christians, Jason Hopper, worked in a church before he was able to do CrossFit full time. You got obviously James Spriggs, where carries the Bible around. He has it tattooed on his tongue. You have these people who handled it differently, and my theory is because the bedrock of their life talks about how to behave, and the bedrock of the story is that the main character died for your sins, and it's about a lot of it's about afterlife, right?
Yeah, and who knows what, you can read the Bible, and still some of it to me is a little bit of like, I don't know, I can't interpret that, right? And so the hope is that we'll see him again, Lazar again, and so if he says he was a professing Christian, or said he was a Christian, and Luke Parker talked about it, and they've had a bunch of conversations about it, and so there is that hope, and yeah, I mean it's just, it puts life into perspective, right? And so for me personally, for me it was more about like, hey, what legacy my wife and my kids, and as long as they're taken care of, that's what really matters.
And I don't mean this in any disrespect at all to Christians,
Nope.
but whether it's true or not, if you spend your days and your primary focus is fulfilling the duties of your sponsorship and getting a good picture of your ass, and then whereas someone else prepares their life with reading the Bible, then when someone dies, they may have better coping skills to process a death, as opposed to the person like, they're like, oh shit, how am I going to talk about this on Instagram? As opposed to someone who reads the Bible is like, okay, this is how I need to process death.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation when we're talking about people talking about stuff on the internet, right? Yeah, it's just different, like, and it's hard. You can't, or I don't want to, I guess you could force what I believe onto how somebody else is acting, right? And so it's tough. People handle stuff different. Now, we got a bunch of crap when we did our whole podcast about people saying that we were just stroking our ego by saying we were firefighters, so we handle death differently. And you're just like, no, we just do. It's just different, like, it's just different.
Well, it's like you said, I don't remember the exact story, but one of the first calls you went to, you show up and some kid who you went to high school with, it was either him
turned
or
a shotgun on himself.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
If you're not gonna tell me you don't handle death differently from that moment on, right? And I've lost some very close people to me, like 2 cousins that were super close, and so we're just different.
Yeah, there was a different depth to you from when I first met you to the vast majority of young CrossFit Games athletes I meet. Because when I first met you in 2010, you had that, you had already done some serious soul searching through hard trials you'd already been through, losing best friends, family stuff, all family stuff. Those best friends were your family also. And so it's interesting. So then you do get these people who do, they've had a great life. They started CrossFit at 13, and then their first fucking hard thing that happened to them is they swam over Lazarus' dead body in the water. And I get that. I would totally get that rocked the fuck out of them. Yeah,
for sure. And like, there's no, like, I can't judge that, because hell, if that's the first thing that you've ever experienced like that, yeah, it's different, like it's just different life experience.
How are you guys dealing with it with the inside Mayhem? I know it's at the Mayhem Empire. There's a shitload of people, a ton of high profile athletes. How are you guys? Are you guys staying close, or is it causing any fracture inside of your camp?
I don't think it's really caused any fracture. Everybody's kind of like off-season mode-ish. Some people are starting to ramp up to Rogue. I don't think it really ruined anything. I saw 5 of them all sitting there stretching earlier. I was joking about it. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, they were doing one of those Go Wad or pliability or whatever, like all these young kids are doing. But it's like, it doesn't seem to, I think maybe made everybody closer, right? And so, I don't know. I'm sure some people might be turned off or whatever from, like, just how they process things are different. Guy, I felt like he was super close with Lazar, and he reacted a little bit differently than some of the others. Like, it hit him a little bit harder. And so, it's just different.
If there was, I had Saxon and Angelo on the show.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Oh, I bet it was. And as soon as you say Angelo.
And Saxon it was a side of Saxon I hadn't seen before, and it's been there, but
Saxon's a good dude.
Yeah, great guy. And one of the things I shared with them is that and I'm curious about your evolution through this. I have this kind of view from OPT all the way up to the current champion, James Sprague. I have this, like, I feel like I see them go through these cycles of their persona, right?
Mhm.
So they come in like super thankful, then there becomes almost a I'm going to be a little extreme here, but like a self-importance or a self-righteousness, their value, and then they come back to like, wow, CrossFit's about like helping my fat uncle cure his type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
And there's the kind of like just this journey that they take.
Yep.
And I said to Angelo and Saxon that I thought that CrossFit Games athletes had a tremendous amount of influence, but almost zero value. And by that, the value I meant is the value to the ecosystem, but the influence, like they get confused. They get the two confused about their influence versus their value.
Right.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think that that's too harsh or too complimentary or?
No, I think, there's what you're saying is true. I mean, you become so selfish when you're an athlete. You have to be. As an individual athlete, I've said it 100 times, more than that probably, but you have to. I was the most selfish person there was when I was an individual, and still, hell, I'm still selfish. But you have to be if you want to be the best in the world at anything. And that's what what most athletes, when they show up at the games, are trying to do. And so, yeah, you have this kind of like arc of like, yeah, I'm, this is all I'm thinking about is trying to win the CrossFit Games. When I woke up for 4 years and then really 7 more on a team, like I woke up a little bit less on team where I was like, my number one goal is to win the CrossFit Games. And then you finish and you're kind of like, oh shit, like people, people are quick to forget, right? And so if you're not doing something, you're not there's no not that there's no value, but like you're saying, like you realize the importance of, hey, I can leave a legacy or I can change people's lives. There's that evolution, like you're saying, you're going through and you're like, all right, now what is my legacy per se from competing? Was my time as an individual or my time competing, was it worthless, right? And so yeah, it's just yeah to a long-winded answer to say yes.
You were one of the years you were doing team, you were sleeping in the back of a motorhome, and I think I walked up to you. I think you were in the back, maybe like you were laying down, your head was hanging out, and I remember saying, "Oh, how'd you sleep?" or something. I don't know if I remember this exactly correctly. And you said, "Oh, I slept like shit." And I said, "Why?" And you said, "Because I spent all night visualizing the workouts or thinking
Yeah,
about the workout."
your brain just goes there. I
Yeah.
didn't sleep a wink the night before Leadville. I laid in bed at 8 o'clock to get up at 6 and slept. I think my Whoop said I slept 2 hours and 12 minutes because I'm literally thinking about anything that could go wrong or how much pain you're about to be in.
Yeah.
And so your brain just goes there. It's just what it is, and it's who we are, right?
Do you like that? You get off on that?
Yes and no. Like in the moment, you're like, this is stupid. Why do I do this? And then after you finish it, you're like, hell yeah, I did something hard, right? And I think that's a sick, twisted thing that we just have, right?
Hey, will you do Leadville again?
I'm gonna take a year off from doing the 100. I might do the stage race. They have a 3-day stage race. So you do the whole race over 3 days, and you can do it a little bit faster. I want to do I was going to do a couple off-road triathlons next year, and then I might do some, like we did that Fresh Coast Challenge or Fresh Coast, yeah, I keep calling it Fresh Coast Classic, but that's not what it is. It's some team competitions, so local team competitions, partner competitions, whatever. Me and Dre are doing one in Amarillo, Texas, 806 Classic, and so I'm gonna do some stuff like that, whatever I can, whatever the old body will let me do. I probably won't do the CrossFit Games Masters stuff, but something on a team, 2-person team, I'll try to do.
When you live your life, are you just like, are you planning? Do you plan or like
No,
as
I'm the
you?
worst planner. Like I'm literally like squirrel. Let me go do this. Like right now, hunting is something I'm really big into and really enjoy that. I feel like that's something that I can keep doing and will keep doing for years and years. I just really like that. But then kind of off season for hunting, my main goals besides family stuff are obviously one, to sell. I think I've said this on this podcast. I've got to sell Mayhem programming, so I have to look good with my shirt off. I want to be able to do hard challenges, hard things whenever I want to. and I still got to let the kids at the gym know that every once in a while the old man's still here. So, those are my goals right now. I'm working out. I work out because I like to work out, probably 2 times a day most days. So.
Hey, that's cool. So it went from wanting to win the games to you. I know you're speaking somewhat tongue in cheek when you say you want to look good with your shirt off because you're selling programming. But the way I'm interpreting what you're saying is like you've built you're a role model in your community and in your gym, and you leverage that to make sure you're not eating like an asshole.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to work out, you make sure you get up and work out because you like the
My
role.
kids are there. People
Yep.
are here. Yep. I gotta practice what I preach, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because those are really powerful moments that people don't realize. That's when the ego is your friend, that you can leverage your ego
Yeah.
to do things to make everything better.
Yeah, for sure.
Is Hillary working out with you?
Hillary, she started walking on the probably the past 3 or 4 months. She's just like goes downstairs, walks on the assault runner, or she comes outside and walks, checking fences, or outside with her Highland cows and doing whatever. So she's gotten into. I can't coax her into like letting me help her, or letting me coach her. It's just not good. So she's definitely way more active in the last 6 months to almost a year than she has been years past, for sure.
Do you try?
No,
Oh.
I just gave. It's just like no,
I asked my wife. Yeah, I used to work out with my wife every day, and since we have kids, we don't do that. We work out separately. But yesterday, I was like, "Hey, will you come work out with me?" And then 2 seconds later, the kids grabbed her.
Yep. Yeah. Sounds about right.
Well, dude, thanks for coming on. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Oh, did you get any elk on the last hunt?
Yep. Got a 5x6 bull with my bow, and it was one of the cooler competition moments I've ever had. It was awesome. And then I'm heading back out to Utah on next Wednesday. So I've got 3 coaches pitch games and softball games to help coach. So
What's a 5x6?
it's how many, I guess, antlers, 5 on one side, 6 on the other, but bunch of good meat, bunch of good free range elk meat.
And what did you like about this hunt? What made it like one of your favorite moments that you've had?
I think just hunting with a bow, meeting some new guys. We hunted with they've got a YouTube channel called Born and Raised Outdoors. Meeting some new guys, learning a bunch of stuff from them, and always trying to learn and get better at what I'm doing.
Born and Raised Outdoors.
Born and Raised Outdoors, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're good dudes, really cool guys.
You like meeting new people?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're kind of the opposite of Dave. Dave doesn't want to be social at all. You're okay with being social.
I like being social with smaller groups, right? And so like I get a little anxious with large groups. I don't mind. It's just when there's so much input, I can't. I'm not an introvert, but I'm not an extrovert. Like small group, little group of people where I can actually have some connection. Yeah, I enjoy that. But when it gets kind of chaotic and people are all around it, I don't know, I have sensory overload or something. I've got a touch of something, right?
Hey, how long before you run for office?
I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if people want that.
They do want that. Have you thought? I asked you last time, kind of the same answer. Are you getting closer? You think you're 1% of the way there?
Yeah, maybe 1% more. We'll see what happens in November. Then we'll decide, I guess. Nah, my kids will have to be gone, and it would have to be something Hillary would be okay with. So,
okay, so maybe like when you're 50.
Yeah, maybe when I'm 50.
All right. Well, I'd like to be on the media side of helping you with your campaign.
All right, deal.
All right, sign me up.
All
right, say hi to everyone.
Can you be the press secretary?
All that stuff. Oh, I don't know if I can't be.
Love that. Yes.
I can't be the press.
Oh, that would be good.
Get the fuck away from Rich. What are you doing?
Oh man, could you imagine?
No. All right.
All right.
Good to have you on, buddy.
Let's do it again in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thanks for that. Was a new record, I think, for the show, having 2 CrossFit Games champions on at the same time. That was cool.
Me and Jason need 3.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right.
Yep, you're right.
All
right, dude. Talk to you soon. Have a good day. Love you too. Bye. Rich Sevy the Fluffer. Dude, I love him so much. Oh, I forgot to tell him. One of my kids called him a douche, and I almost fucking had to make my kids sleep outside. My goodness. Oh my God, I'm so excited for tonight. I'm going somewhere so cool with Souza and Greg tonight. Greg's picking me up at 3. I got to pee so bad. I swear, Fit just goes right through me. I wonder if I used the exerciser and I made my dick 12 inches long, if I would have more room for pee. Doesn't work like that, does it? Sevy needs a smoke. Damn, he's cool. Was I fawning over a 35-year-old man? All right. Tim Murray looked great. Great to have Tim on. I'm gonna go fool around with my kids. I see they're in the backyard fooling around. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow, Glinton will be on for me in the morning. Garrett Glinton from the Glinton podcast, Glinton Things, and Colleen, her wife. Then Saturday morning, we will be doing Kill Taylor. Maybe I'll do a show tomorrow night from my hotel room with Souza. All right. That's it. Love you guys. Thanks for the double shows today. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.